What's up, everybody? This is China Mike from the Made in China podcast, coming back at you with a new episode here with the CEO, Mr. Rico.
Another one.
Another one. SourceFindAsia.com, at SourceFindAsia on Instagram. You know how to find us.
Water, colors, falling down the page. A photo, something I don't know how to say. Even though I travelled on the train, even if I'm standing all the way. I'm bored of summers, if you're there in the rain.
Dreaming, you won't believe it. Like when it feels new but they're old feelings. Run flows for the whole evening. If I kick ball, I'd score goals for the whole season. Let it run like watercolours. Walk down the road and I thought of something. Real talk, I ain't talking rubbish. I've been here for 24 summers. There's a lot to be happy for here. I ain't seen you in 3 or 4 years. Came to my show and it was more clear. What I knew then wasn't what I saw here. At the end of it all, you're more happy. They say that it's just a word, but you're family. That makes my mum pleased too.
In this episode, what are we talking about, Mike? Where do we start?
It's kind of current events, what's been going on in China. Our podcast releases haven't been as frequent for quite some time, so we kind of wanted to get into what's been happening, how Source Find Asia has been transitioning, and what we're seeing for the future, at least in terms of our content that we're putting out.
Yeah. So let's just address the elephant in the room. We haven't consistently released content pretty much since, I would say, end of 2020. We were still releasing. It was just we'll do 2 episodes here and there. That time during COVID, we were definitely releasing consistently because I was just talking about what was going on with us and how COVID was affecting our business.
Got into the PPE business a little bit.
Yeah, and my personal life and all that stuff. But so 2020, end of 2020 and then 2021, essentially the business itself, Source Find Asia, was slow, even though we made more money than we had made ever before because of what happened that year. The business itself was slow, so we weren't doing so much. So I kind of lost and then just the general COVID stuff. I lost my routine. Usually as Michelini and myself were talking about, and I was talking about with Mike yesterday, when you're moving, when you have this routine where you're going around meeting new people all the time, you're traveling and you're having all these new experiences, it automatically spices up your creative mind.
Definitely creates energy, creates connections. You're coming across people all the time who are in the same space as you, and things just happen so organically when we were moving around freely and doing all these different meetups.
Now when you're just sitting at home, working at home, and just doing just at home all the time, it's you're not thinking about I need to interview this person and things like that. And a lot of the people as well that I was interviewing, you guys know from the YouTube channel, I was doing a lot of in-person interviews, face-to-face interviews, where I would schedule stuff, go meet somebody at a restaurant or a coffee shop or whatever it is, barbershop, and I had big plans, man. For 2020 I wanted to do a sort of reality show where we would have sort of the reality shows where they follow somebody around, but then you sit down and you do the talking to the camera thing. That was kind of my plan with Nick, was we wanted to talk about just our transition into the Philippines and building our life in the Philippines and all that stuff, and just business and all that. So it's I had a lot of these ambitions, and that stuff got cut. So that's the reason why. And then on another level, I take full responsibility for this as the CEO of the company. We had an employee that was really good at the beginning of, I would say, half of 2020. And I would say, most of 2020 is a pretty good employee. but we kind of got stuck with him because we were um, building out the digital summit, and he was an integral piece of that. And it was like, and from my perspective, it was like, do I hire another person while we're in the middle of this big project that I have to then explain all these things? And, to be fair, like he had some tangible skills, like some, like things that I would probably have to pay 2, 3 other people to do. You know what I mean? So that's where like that kind of delayed things. I should have probably let go of him. I would say about 6 months earlier than we ended up letting go of him. And then then we had to hire new people. So that was another thing. So like he was in charge of content marketing. He was a content marketing manager. And basically what that means from our side is, besides all the general things that could mean, he was in charge of scheduling the content. So like if I record something, or if I record something, I upload it to Google Drive, and then he's supposed to schedule it out in the content calendar. And those
Kept
one
the
time
whole process flowing, really.
kept the and then let the editors know that there's new content and this is when it needs to be released and everything. And I remember one time I jumped into like check our iTunes and Spotify releases just to see if there's any new reviews and things like that. And sometimes I'll just re-listen to old podcasts just to get a feel. And I saw that we hadn't released anything in like a month, and I was like, what's going on here? So I contacted our editors and asked them. I was like, hey man, like what's up? Why haven't we released anything in a month? Oh, we haven't been nothing's been assigned to us. Okay, nothing's been assigned. I've been recording. There's content there. Like we have a plan. So yeah, that was the beginning of the end for said employee.
Yeah, in my dealings with him, it would be the same situation. We would approach him about it. We'd get a big kick up in work once the confrontation happened.
Yeah.
There would be a big kick up in work. So he said, oh, okay, things are going to get rolling again. And then
maybe some people are just motivated by negativity, because like it was like the opposite thing happened where he got a huge bonus, right?
Yeah.
And like his bonus was basically about 2 times his monthly salary.
Why do you say he's motivated by negativity? Just because of
what you just said.
Okay.
What you just said, like we're like every time
negativity coming
him,
from us,
us, yes. Every time we confronted him, he would then have an uptake in productivity.
Yeah.
But then when the positive thing happened in terms of him getting a bonus that's 2 times his salary, then he fucking disappeared. Yeah. I think he literally disappeared for like 2 weeks or something like that. Yeah. So, and it's so surprising to me, because I thought that like the bonus would motivate him to be like, oh shit, like I just made like 2 times my salary. So I made 3 times the amount of money, or 2 times the amount of money, 2 times plus 1 this month. Like if I continue doing what I'm doing right now, this could become a regular thing. And it would have become a regular thing because we had so many plans in the pipeline in terms of sales and all this stuff. And we're trying to bring him in more to that. And yeah, he didn't see the vision, or I don't know, just lack of motivation. But yeah, maybe he is motivated by negativity. But that is not our company culture. So it was like, all right, gotta let go of the homie.
Yeah, we tried.
Yeah. Oh, we tried so hard. Hard, man. Like we moved him in multiple different positions, like peer reviews. Hey, what do you need? Like all this stuff. Like I gave him all my productivity tools, things like he had issues with checking his email and stuff like that. So it was like I was telling him about like how if I can't reply to an email immediately, I put it on snooze. Like I just all the fucking possible ways we could try to remedy the situation. We tried, and I think that it was purely just because one, we tried to be understanding and try to be nice with our employees and everything. And and then the other part is I mean I really liked him as a person. I still like him as a person. I just think
he's a great guy. Easy to talk to.
Yeah, easy to talk to. I just think maybe he's
Clever.
a little bit lazy.
Yeah, self-admitted.
Yeah, a little bit lazy, sure. Maybe a little bit of lack of motivation.
I got a question for you. Since early 2020, have you seen anyone from, obviously not from SFA, but from our immediate network who you recorded content with in the past, whether it be Michelini or Alan or any of these people that were regular guests on the podcast, regular people that we're doing business with? I was just trying to think off the top of my head. Is there anyone that you've seen in the past 2 years?
Physically.
Correct.
Jordan, but that's just because Jordan lives in the Philippines.
Yeah.
But besides that, no. Like Michelini, I saw him just before he left. You know the story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him.
I just don't know what the date was.
That would have been like late February 2020 or early March, like maybe first week. I would say late February is probably a safer bet.
Yeah. Right when everything is popping off.
Yeah. So, I guess we've mentioned Michelini already. Okay, we're going to be talking about some of the conversation I had with Michelini pertaining to Shanghai and China in general, the state of things in China.
Yeah, I was just trying to get at, we were talking about why content wasn't coming as frequently. You had mentioned, just this is not being able to move around, not being able to see these people, these idea exchanges.
Everybody left as well, right? Like, so like a lot of people left Asia. So like one of the things that you guys maybe don't know is like most of the time when I do these interviews, I'm interviewing people that are in Asia, even if it's like a Zoom call and stuff. So like they might be 1 hour behind or 2 hours in front or whatever it is. Probably more likely 2 hours behind and then 1 hour in front, just based off of where we're located. So yeah, it's like it's much easier in that environment because you're constantly like, it's easier to set up calls and things like that. Whereas like when you have people that are all over the world and then everybody is doing different things and everybody has their own issues. I mean, they have people are like Michelini, for example, he's in China, but like he had to do homeschooling for his kids, right, during the lockdown. So it's like, his time, his stress and time and all that stuff, he's still working. And like, there's just a lot of stuff that was put on people's plates during this time period where it takes you away from like, oh, I need to record a podcast. And even though the podcast is important, taking care of your kids is more important at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
So those kind of small things have happened. And not to make excuses, of course.
Speaking of, taking care of your kids and being most important, Wolfgang is about to drop his Instagram exclusive.
Wolfgang, it's Wolfgang_Ghosts. Wolfgang is going to be out here. He's a local celebrity already.
We're talking a little bit about future content plans, and I think Wolfgang figures heavily into this mix.
He's also dropping a mixtape, check him out.
Motherfucking Eagle Double G.
Snoop Dogg.
You know I'm mobbing with the D.R.E.
Snoop Dogg. That would be pretty funny with Jamie's dogs too, because they got a whole pack of them. That would be cool.
Wolfgang Ghost coming soon, but Instagram is already available. So at Wolfgang_Ghost. I just want free stuff. Like, I mean, that's really what it is. I just want free stuff. I want like to free up my budget.
To all my peoples in the struggle, you know what I'm saying? It's all good, baby. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine, hanging pictures on my wall. Every Saturday, rap attack Mr. Magic Marley Marl.
I'm not gonna name drop here, but I told you one way to do it is claim that might be tough because he's a husky, but claim Wolfgang's a vegan and you just start partnering up with all these vegan dog
Yeah, but
companies.
I don't want vegan food though for the dog. That's the
I
thing.
know.
Yeah, but I mean, genuinely, like I haven't said this on the podcast, but I've told you before. It's like I walk around with Wolfgang, or my girlfriend walk around with Wolfgang, or anybody who walk around with Wolfgang is like people. Is that Wolfgang? Oh, Wolfgang. It's like just like what? How do you know my dog? You know, like
He's winning hearts and minds out there.
yeah. So and then I'll get pictures from third parties where it's like, so there's a dog park close to my place. We leave him at the dog park for like an hour or something. And he gets special privileges at the dog park because again he's Wolfgang, so so he's there like boss Don Wolfgang Papa, and I'll get like a picture from a friend who got a picture from some random person who's like, it's Wolfgang, and my friend is like, yeah, I got this picture from this girl or whatever, and I'm like, how? Like, I just don't even know. How does she know who he is? First of all, like, how did she know to send it to you? Then you send it to me. I'm like, well, what is going on? But anyways, it's so that is what gave me the idea of like, I should probably create an Instagram for him because I think he will get a lot of followers pretty quickly.
We'll see what happens, man.
Yeah. Oh, one of my friends has his dog in movies in the Philippines. He's got a German Shepherd, and like actually he's the owner of the dog park, and he was talking. He was
He's
talking
got
to me.
like a well-trained dog, so he gets acting roles.
Yeah, he
Nice.
gets acting roles. Like he showed me some of the clips.
I wonder how
and stuff
those
like that.
animals get paid.
I think basically he's basically like the manager, so like he gets paid, and then I mean it's like the dog.
I'm not saying your guy
can't
in
have a bank
Philippines, but
account or
like
whatever.
in Hollywood movies or
Yeah.
something, if you have a dog that can just be on command for a sitcom, I wonder what a sitcom dog's day rate is.
What the salary is. No, I mean I didn't ask him, but he was like, it's pretty decent. Like it's enough money per month to basically just like take care of the dog, like So, and then he gets free stuff as well because his dog is also kind of a local celebrity. So he
Celebrity
just
dog.
gets like brand deals and influencing stuff, and so it's one of them ones. So that's what I'm thinking about. So I don't care about the money necessarily, but like it would be kind of nice if I start getting like free treats and toys and things like that for Wolfgang, and just who knows. Anyways, so moving on from Wolfgang for a Wolfgang segment. Moving on from the Wolfgang segment, I guess what we wanted to talk about is it's still content related. I'm going to be trying to start to do on the factory floor once in a while in the Philippines. So, I've been thinking about this for a while. I wanted to make some face masks. I wanted to make some polo tees for SFA, like for the staff and friends and family of the company. So just a small production run. And then initially I was like, oh, I'll do it in China. And then because it's the most obvious thing, I know exactly how that would work. We have factories that do this, or we can go in Taobao and have the production done in a couple of days, and it wouldn't be super expensive. Then
I'm interested to see some of the insides of these factories and learn the ropes of manufacturing in somewhere like the Philippines. I know that so many people contact us and ask us, do you have connections elsewhere? Do you have connections in Vietnam and Philippines? Yeah. And I think the sentiment, not huge, but a growing sentiment of people who aren't too eager to produce in China, or at least want to see what other available options are out there. So what was your initial feel being in the factory?
So then what I did was I asked one of our Filipina employees to go and check for factories in the Philippines. She found a place, or she already knew about a factory that's 20 minutes away from where she lives. She went down there. It's a textiles factory, obviously. They do bags, they do shirts, they do pretty much anything textile related. But I think shirts and bags are kind of like the main products. and it was interesting because like seeing, I did a video call with them and with the owner. It's a very different experience, right? Because in some aspects, like in China, like the owner of the factory doesn't speak English. Like it doesn't, it's like they wouldn't necessarily want to do a video call, like just random FaceTime. Like I don't think they would want to do that.
Not the factory boss, unless
Not
it's
the
a
factory, yeah.
small operation.
It was a small operation, but I even think even a small operation, I feel like it would be a little bit of like a weird request. Like somebody just shows
especially
up
in English.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but anyways, yeah. So we did the video call. She showed me around. The first thing I thought about was like, oh, this is China 15 years ago. And I was like, I'm pretty sure if Mike saw this, he'd be like, yeah, I was in these factories in 2012. You know what I mean? Like, and I even now, like, I mean, not now, but like 2019, I saw factories that looked like that, and we normally wouldn't work with factories that look like that right now.
Sure. Yeah.
But I understand that like it's a different country, different, they're in a different stage of their development. So I think that they can still do some good work. They showed me some different fabrics and all this stuff. I'm about to get swatches today, so that's going to be interesting to touch the fabric and feel it. I'm going to split the production between China and here. So I would want to compare the quality and all that stuff. What was interesting in terms of the conversation was some of the details that I asked, what details do you need? Because I already know the typical stuff in China, but I wanted to hear what they wanted in Philippines. And she was like, well, we need the logo size. I was like, okay, cool. Do you want embroidery or, this? And I was like, yeah, embroidery. And then she was like, oh, this is Uniqlo material. Uniqlo material. This is Ralph Lauren material. This is, I was like, no, that's not how it works. What is Uniqlo material? This
is comparable to one Ralph Lauren shirt that you found.
I was like, yo, okay, is it cotton? Is it polyester? Like, is it nylon? Is it a blend?
Uniqlo is a pretty big store. There's a lot of different kinds of fabrics in there.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, this is Nike version. I want Nike version. I didn't know that there's a material called Nike version. So, so I was like, yeah. So then when I started asking those questions, I was like, can you do like a cotton? Yeah. Oh, so the other one, she said, this is Nike version, but a little bit stretchy. And I was like, okay, so
that's the technical term.
That's a technical term. So I was like, okay, so that means there's spandex in there, right? And she's like, yes. And then I think she realized like, oh, okay, I'm dealing with like somebody that actually knows what they're talking about. So I was like, okay, is it like a cotton spandex blend or whatever, polyester? She's like, oh, it's polyester spandex. So then we started to have a more technical conversation about the materials and things like that. But they can source whatever you want. So it was quite similar. Like the machinery that they had in the factory was similar. It was just a small factory, but they had all the right equipment. So when I was doing the video tour, I was like, oh, I'm so familiar with this. This looks like a Chinese factory, just a little bit disheveled, a little bit disorganized.
So from my time when I first got into China until now, that's one industry that's significantly moved out of China, at least out of southern China. So you can still get, textiles made, and there's still clothing factories in Guangdong province without a doubt, but far less than before. So you saw a lot of textile manufacturing move to northern China and then start to move into other places like India, Bangladesh, Indonesia, all these places. Do you have a scope of any of the other industries and kind of factories that are available in the Philippines? In the Philippines, yeah, there are other industries that are prominent.
I feel like Philippines and Indonesia, I'm noticing it's a lot of handiwork, stuff that's built with people's hands. So it's like in Indonesia, there's a lot of like wood carvings, right? Like a lot of like wood design stuff, like things like that, wood crafting. Same thing in the Philippines as well. There's a lot of like wood or plastic carvings, things like that. Like I don't know if I've showed you before, but like the side tables in my room were made here. And they're made from wood. Actually, the dining table behind me is made from wood as well, but that's slightly more expensive. But like, yeah, there's a lot of like just anything that involves manual labor. Like there's a lot of things around that, and textiles, and so textiles, wood, plastic, manual labor. If you put that into a potion, that's what you're looking for here. And I'm kind of because things are opening up more, and we're not like in a strict lockdown or anything like that. I don't even know what level we're in right now. If we're in orange level 6 or fucking DEFCON level 5, I don't know, Death Star 13. But yeah, right now things are opening up, so like we're able to actually go to places and things like that. And I think that with the new staff, the new team, our Philippines team is growing. I feel like we're opening up a different world here, and it's just more like we have to. The thing, another aspect is like, even though some people come to us and ask us whether we can source outside of China, it's also just not a very conscious thing that we have. So like when we have new clients coming in or potential new clients coming in, our immediate thing is to go to the China team, right? But I feel like we can start to push some of these things towards the Philippines team as well. And
especially
see if there's
once
any
you
options.
have more inroads to additional factories, start to create these relationships.
Well, I think it's like the chicken and egg situation. We need to provide them with the information, and then they can look for factories here. But we of course, China is still going to be 99% or 95% of our productions. But like, yeah, I think that if we start to say, okay, here's the extraction sheet, and we push it to the China team, but we also ask the Philippines team to look into it, I think we'll start to see some benefits from that. And the other thing I think we were talking about yesterday is like I guess the difficult part of it is, besides there not being an aggregator like Alibaba, it's the logistics, right? So the Philippines is made of hundreds of islands, if not 1,000+ islands. So getting one thing from another place, so like if an island, like you have a production being done in Cebu, you're either putting that on a plane to come to Manila, and then Manila port goes to somewhere else, or you're putting it on a boat from Cebu to Manila. It's just, that adds just extra time, lots of logistics, lots of issues, lots of potential for loss or damage or things like that. So yeah, that's the tough part with some of these other places, whereas China is a giant like landmass, and they have all the logistics figured out. So even if something's coming from Beijing and going down to Guangzhou, it will only take 1 or 2 days,
Day and a half.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Most of the SF shipments from Beijing or Shanghai within 48 hours.
I order stuff on Lazada, which is essentially Taobao for here. And I'm sure you know about Lazada because it's in Thailand as well, right?
Yeah. I've purchased things when I was in Chiang Mai off Lazada.
I'll order something that is supposedly in Manila, and it gets delivered like 4 days later. So it's like, okay, like
somebody
what is
could have
going
probably
on?
rode a bike over to you in 15 minutes or something.
The only way that works is I have to message the seller directly and be like, I need this today. I need this today, or I need this tomorrow. Then they'll be like, okay, well, you're going to have to pay for the separate shipping company or whatever. But if you go through the Lazada process, it's 2 to 3 days or 4 days or whatever. So yeah, the logistics is the problem. So I think if you're doing a production here, if it's textiles, you might be able to get a cheaper price. You might be able to work with lower. In fact, you will be able to work with lower MOQs, because that was one of the things that I noticed with the factory. Was like, when we're talking to them. To be fair, we're doing like an OEM product, face masks and shirts with our logo on it. So it's not anything crazy. But they really didn't talk about MOQs. They just were like, this is the price, and these are the details, whatever. Uniqlo product and Ralph Lauren, and it ain't Ralph though.
And it ain't no Ralph though. It ain't Ralph level.
As Kanye would say.
Most textile factories don't have big MOQs unless they're a huge operation that are already doing massive size orders, I remember when I was making dresses and shirts and stuff, we just had to make sure that we ordered like a full roll of the fabric sometimes.
Yep.
So usually a couple hundred would be the only MOQ we'd come up against.
That was an interesting thing as well. So I just felt like they didn't have MOQs. So then I asked, like, I went into like a different mode after we talked about the SFA stuff. I went to a different mode to understand what are they capable of doing. So it's a small factory. They said they could do about 100 shirts a day. Maybe if it's bags or face masks, it might be like something might be different. But 100 shirts a day. So yeah, we're talking about 3,000, I guess, per month.
That's extremely low output.
Yeah, and then she said they can ramp up, but part of the thing is like because of COVID, they lost a lot of their stores. A lot of people left to their hometowns and stuff like that. So they're kind of like getting back into it right now.
Okay.
So yeah, there was that, and then typical Southeast Asia. She was like, "Do you want an official invoice or no?" I'll let you guys guess. I'll let you guys guess why. She's asking if I want an official invoice or no. Trying to avoid some dealings with the governments. And I was like, no, our company is based in Hong Kong. Like, we just need an invoice for our records, So Hong Kong and mainland China, like we don't have a Philippines registered company, so it's like it's okay. But that's again, this reminds me of China. It reminds me of China like early days and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even China now.
Less so now than before, but
well, yeah, they're definitely cracking down way more now than they were before. But like, yeah. But yeah, I think that was pretty much all of it. Like, is there anything that I missed out on? Because we talked about it quite a bit yesterday.
In terms of the factory visit,
yeah.
No, just that we're the next visit we'll get a little more clean content from the trip.
Yeah, and I'll okay. So we're gonna order a sample first. So I want to go through that process. I want to order sample from China, sample from this supplier. I found another supplier online that I'm going to contact. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to put together a tech pack first, and just so that I can have that and just send it out. I don't want to have this conversation with like multiple suppliers. I just want to be able to send them a tech pack and tell them what it is. So yeah, and when we do start to create the sample, I will go down to the factory and be part of the process. They said the sampling process will take about 3 to 5 days. 3 to 5 business days. Production is about 10 days. Yeah, so I want to just document this process. It seems very similar to China. A lot of, even like the sampling fee, she's charging like $25. That includes the digital mold, which is what you put in for the logo in a machine for it to do the embroidery. But like that is refundable if we place an order of 100 units plus, or at least when we produce 100 units plus. So, it's just, again, it's like very, very similar to China, just a little bit different, like same, but different.
Yeah, my experiences in factories in other parts of Asia have been more so what you're talking about, seeing not quite as developed. What I saw when I first got to China in 2008, 2009, a lot of, not very official looking buildings, kind of, It could be in a residential area.
This was a house. This is a house that's been converted into a factory.
When I went to India to source the hair extension business that I took on back in the early days, that was like that. I mean, you would just go back into like an apartment complex, and then they would have, carved out the wall in between 2 apartment complexes, and had just a bunch of people there with stuff all over the place.
What is it? Do you think that was part of a building code? You know what I mean? Or was that, were they respecting the building code?
Oh my God. We had a warehouse in no, Busan, close to the airport in Guangzhou. And eventually the government came through and cleaned it all out, and they kicked everybody out that wasn't official. But I just remember they had this creek behind the warehouse that we had, and all the neighboring warehouses and factories, just all their waste and gunk from the warehouse was flowing into this little creek. And I swear to God, it was just like neon colors filled with garbage, massive stench. It was awful, man.
Yeah.
But eventually over the years, that stuff cleaned up considerably. You saw less and less of that, at least in China. But I don't think what you're experiencing is quite that a mess.
Well, that's why I was saying is like it's beginning. It's 15 years ago, China 15 years ago. Like they're developing this industry here, and there's no rules around it because it's like this is not the main industry in the Philippines,
sure.
right? The business outsourcing is more of the main thing. Getting VAs and things like that is more of the main thing. But once the manufacturing starts to develop, I'm sure the government will start to, crack down more on those kind of details. Stay tuned for the next part of the episode. We're going to be talking about the state of China, business in China. There's some slight politics, but we won't go too deep. I don't want to get kidnapped and put into a black van and be forced to go on TV and apologize.
I want a Daryl Morey situation.
No, I'm good. I'm good on that. All right. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and watching for the YouTubers. If you're going to reach out to us, that's podcast@sourcefineasia.com, sourcefineasia.com/made in China. Of course, at SourceFineAsia on YouTube. Subscribe. And we have a Discord we're launching soon, very, very soon. It should be in May. We don't have a definitive date yet, but we're starting off with 3 tiers. So there'll be a free tier. There'll be the wildlings. There'll be the Valerians. And so the free tier is the wildlings. The Valerians are tier 1, and then tier 2 is the lords. So basically we'll have exclusive content on Discord. So me and Mike are doing a Discord podcast. We haven't named the podcast yet, so we want the Discord to name the podcast with us. We want that to be part of the process. And I think we discussed that whoever names the podcast, whoever we choose as the best name, is going to get, Mike, you want to take it away? He's going to get a gift. What is the gift, Mike?
I forgot for a second. An SFA t-shirt. No, we're going to give you a Z kit. I think I've talked about it on the podcast before. The Z kit. All-in-one workout home gym. Can take it with you on the road. Got over 10 different physical training tools inside. It's the bomb, man. I use it all the time. Started the company with my buddy who's a NBA athletic trainer. He uses it with the NBA players that he's working out. It's got everything in there. It's designed by a professional who knows the body literally from head to toe. And just excited to be pushing something that I use and I believe in. I've made so many different products over the years, and they're cool and I like them. But it wasn't something that I used and was like a big part of what I do day to day. So the Z Kit's been a cool journey, starting that brand and working with cool athletes and pushing that out. And we want to share it with whoever comes up with the dopest name for the podcast, because me and Rico are tired of constantly saying SFA Discord exclusive. And this is not a very good, catchy name for what we're trying to do here.
I put in a lot of time coming up with a Made in China podcast name and the vibe and all that stuff. Is like, I want to outsource this right now. I don't want to do this. And also I just think it's cool. Like if one of the people that's involved names it, like I feel like that's a cool vibe. We will be doing giveaways. I want to say monthly, but I don't hold me to that. But like I was just thinking about it yesterday, and I was like, I think a monthly giveaway is not so crazy. Like gift cards and things like that. Like it's not something that is impossible to do. if we have an active community. And then we have case studies. So basically, if you're in the Wildlings level, you will have some access to some of the channels within Discord, but like some of the like exclusive case studies, exclusive content, you're not going to get all of those things. You'll get a little bit of a taste and some samples of some stuff, but like for you to access the full stuff, you'd have to at least go to Valerian's level. And then in the Lords and Ladies level, we will have even more exclusive content and things like that the Valerians aren't receiving. Then eventually, once we ramp up, we want to start to do another level. I won't say what the name is right now, but it's still in this Game of Thrones kind of like Viking, kind of language. And we'll be doing like consultation calls and things like that, like Mike and myself, one-on-one consultation calls. So that's obviously going to be a pretty.
What are the guys on the wall called in the series?
I don't remember.
The black. No.
Maybe.
The
yeah, I know exactly who you're talking.
To take the wall. And stuff.
I know exactly who
that group of people has a name. Anyway.
Yeah, they do. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's just like I just don't remember the name. I haven't watched Game of Thrones in like 3-4 years. I tried to forget it. After the last season. We're gonna be starting off pretty soon in May, and exclusive content, ask me anything stuff. We're gonna be collecting questions on a weekly basis. Mike and myself will answer. Pretty active community. We're gonna be bringing in our partners as well, like trading companies, shipping companies, QC companies, whatever. We're going to be bringing them into the community as well. So, you'll be able to make contacts and connections. I think it's going to be awesome, and I'm really excited to do this.
Most definitely. If you're early on in your product development business, I think it's a great place to make connections and get some, we'll have a wealth of information, big database of stuff to share with you guys. So I think it would be a great resource to those who are getting their business off the ground, people who already have existing operations, but might not need to employ our full project management service. It's also a way to scan what's going on in China, and like Rico said before, just connect with all the people in our network who might be able to assist you with your business, but then also, just give you new ideas and motivations that you can put forth onto your projects.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing like a subscription model. So, we're going to be starting off at a, $9.99, which is, I think, pretty reasonable for the amount of value that you'll be getting. And then the idea is like over time, the price will probably go up over time. But we want it to be something that is not for the average entrepreneur, startup, or small company that's trying to do stuff in China, maybe by themselves, has a tight budget or whatever, wants to save money. Then this would be a great resource, because you'll be able to talk to other people in the community. You'll have access to professionals, people that have done it before, like myself and Mike. And while we won't be hands-on with the project, we will still be giving advice, and you'll be able to learn while not paying a premium for our like consulting services. If you want to pay a premium for consulting services, you're more than welcome. But you know what I mean? It's just a little. We wanted to be able to service the businesses and people that have built SourceFind Asia, essentially, because we started off with startups and small to medium-sized businesses, so we don't want to completely transition away from that,
Exactly.
All right, guys, so that's it for this part one. Check you guys out in part two.